Ruben Amorim, is he happy with INEOS' transfer plans? Does he get much of a say over Manchester United's transfer plans? Is Garnacho going to stay? Because Amorim seems to be pushing for that. What is the latest with Christopher Nkunku? Man United loan move could be on the cards. Dorgu Rashford deals expected to be done this week. What is the latest on those? Amorim speaks about Hojlund and more. So hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news and transfer news roundup. And before we even get into the news, what a bore fest that Fulham game was. I'm glad we won. I thought the last 10 minutes was enjoyable with Maino and Ahmad linking up, but what an absolute bore fest that game was. And it's the game with the lowest scoring XG in the last 2 seasons. It was one of the most boring games. The only thing it gave was the Malacia versus Adama Traore beef and the Ahmad Maino 10 minutes of link up. I'm so annoyed that second goal was ruled out though, because that was a beautiful goal. And we'll talk about the game in my live show later tonight, but we're going to talk about all the latest transfer news as there's 4 days left in the January window. Word is that Ruben Amorim's position on Garnacho has moved. Garnacho's attitude, efforts in training and willingness to adapt to Amorim's system are the reasons Amorim would now like Garnacho to be part of the project. However, the player's head could be turned by a potential move, said United Menace. Now, United Menace, some people gave him a stick the other day. I assume it's him. But they've put out information, and then The Athletic have put out the same information a couple hours later or the next day, whether it be injuries, whether it be this story, that story. They seem to be pretty reliable with the information that they put out, because The Athletic seem to put similar things out not long later. But it was obviously said that word is that Ruben Amorim's position on Garnacho has moved. Now, I think Ruben Amorim was frustrated with Garnacho. He was dropped ahead of the Manchester derby, and he wasn't playing his best. But I think Garnacho's had a bit of a kick up the bum. He's a bit more fresh because he's not been starting every game. And I think he's been eager to impress the last few games. He's still learning, he's still developing, there's still room for improvement, but he's looked better these last 2 games. Still, we need more. But I think he's a player that's going to work hard, put his head down. And why sell him in January? I think Ruben Amorim maybe would be open to selling him in the summer if we don't see much of Garnacho between now and the summer, because it would give us lots of funds to invest in players that are maybe more suited to a system. But I don't think we're in any position to rush the Garnacho sale in January, because if we're selling Garnacho and Nkunku's coming in as the replacement, I just don't think we're able to get Matheus Cunha. So maybe in the summer you sell Garnacho because there's a lot of replacements available. You can use the money. Amorim's had longer to assess him, but I don't think it's a priority to sell Garnacho. If he's working hard in training, we're limited in attack. We don't know if we'll get a replacement if we sell Garnacho. Why do it? And I think Ruben Amorim is more than happy to give Garnacho a bit of time. I don't know how he fully feels about Garnacho, but he's obviously been more impressed with him lately and willing to give him time. I mean, Ruben Amorim said this after the match, and trying to find a best position for him. Today he played a little more open, not so much inside. We need guys one against one, but I don't know what's going to happen in regards to his transfers. He's trying to, it looks like he's happy for Garnacho to stay and trying to find out a way to utilise him, because he knows there's a talent there, Ruben Amorim. That's the way I see it. I think he wants Rashford gone, and I think he'll make a decision on Garnacho in the summer. So, what's been said on Garnacho and Nkunku at the latest? The future of Alejandro Garnacho holds the key to Manchester United's dealings in the January window. Manchester United do not want to sell, but will accept a sale with help from PSR, said Sky Sports. Now, the whole reason United want to sell Garnacho is because it's been reported, I think it was by Sky, that 60 million for Garnacho is essentially 180 million leeway in terms of PSR and in terms of spending. And I think United think, well, the money we get for selling Garnacho could go elsewhere. But I think in January, I don't know if we get Cunha. I don't know who's available. I think it's almost one of those, but maybe we'll look at selling Garnacho in the summer when we've got a bit more options to replace them with. But I don't want to write Garnacho off after 2 poor months when we're limited in attack, and Rashford obviously needs to go first because of what's gone on with Amorim. I think that, maybe we'll look at selling Garnacho in the summer if we just don't see enough between now and the summer and Amorim thinks there's benefits to the system. But I think for now it's not a must, because I don't think we're going to get Cunha to exactly come and replace him in. It was said that Manchester United and Chelsea remain in contact regarding the transfer of Christopher Nkunku. This is because of a departure for Alejandro Garnacho still remains a possible scenario. Nkunku's open for the move. Nkunku on a permanent? Absolutely not. Nkunku on loan, I'm all for that. Nkunku would suit Amorim's system. I think he suits the 10 role well, and I think there's a good player there, and Cole Palmer plays in his best position, so he's not really going to play in his best position for Chelsea. On loan, I take it. On a permanent, no. He's injury prone, he's on high wages, he's not been good enough. There's question marks over attitude. I wouldn't do it on a permanent. He's 27. He's not a young player anymore. It's one of those which I would do on loan. But apparently Nkunku himself is keen on joining United. I do think he could suit Amorim's system, and maybe United look to do a loan deal. I think what could happen is we get Dorgu in because Anthony's gone, and if Rashford goes on loan, we use the money saved in wages to maybe bring Nkunku in on loan. I think that's a possibility with maybe Garnacho staying put. It's also been said that United are weighing up the prospect of going for Nkunku, who might be available on loan from Chelsea, and this was said by Laurie Whitwell, and as you know, Laurie Whitwell is a very reliable source of information, so if he says we're looking at maybe Nkunku on loan, then it's definitely something that United are looking at and considering. And look, on loan, it's a good deal. On loan to the end of the season, no obligation to buy. It's a good deal because if Rashford goes, we need that extra body in attack. Ruben Amorim said after the match yesterday he needed a bit of pace on it, a bit of something to come off the bench. There was nothing on the bench to come on the attack. There was no Anthony, there was no Rashford. It was Xerxes Hojlund, and then there wasn't any attacking substitutions. There wasn't any wingers. There wasn't any tens. There wasn't any flair players. So what I mean is, but Nkunku, it's like people won't like it, but Nkunku on loan is a body. Rashford goes, okay, but there's a body. And if Nkunku starts, Garnacho can come off the bench. We know Garnacho's impact off the bench. If Garnacho doesn't have a great game, Nkunku can come off the bench. You know, that's the way I see it. It's getting that body on loan. If Marcus Rashford goes, Nkunku on loan, I think is a good deal. I wouldn't do it permanently because of age, because of age, because of injury, but I don't think it's this awful deal. Now, talking of good deals, Dorgu. Now, I think Dorgu is a good deal is you get him for under £30 million. I think over £30 million, maybe we walk away and look elsewhere, we're being mugged off. But I think looking at that game, we need Dorgu. I'm fed up with Delo and Majraoui being the wing-backs. They don't give us enough going forward. I'd love to see Dorgu. Manchester United are set to approach Lecce again this week with Patrick Dorgu. Add-ons will be key for the final proposal to get closer to Lecce's £34 million valuation. The difference between Ruben Amorim and Ten Hag for me is we are seeing Ruben Amorim's system. We're seeing how it's implemented, but we're seeing that the players just can't do that or do this role or do that role. And Dorgu is a left wing back that could do that role and even play at right wing back. And I think the lack of progression in the wing backs and how defensive minded both of them are, because they're back four players. Mazraoui's best position is right centre back. Says to me, having someone like Patrick Dorgu come in that can play left wing back, move Delo to right wing back, play Mazraoui right centre back, that could put United in a much better position, and I just hope we don't overpay. I hope we don't get mugged off and forced into overpaying, because I think for me, we shouldn't have to pay more than £30 million. If Brighton or Brentford or someone went for this guy, £5 million deal's done. They want 10 million more because United are there. It said that Manchester United view Lecce's Patrick Dorgu stance as brinkmanship. United have their valuation and will not overpay. Should he sign this month, Malacia may leave on loan. A number of European clubs have expressed interest. I think we get Dorgu. I think Rashford could go. And maybe Nkunku comes in if Rashford goes. Because if you lose Rashford and Anthony, you probably need a replacement with Nkunku keen to come. I think we'll probably get Dorgu done this week. I think we'll probably get Rashford done this week, depending on Barcelona. I mean, Rashford deal, it sort of has to be done. We're going to literally touch upon that in a minute. But let's just quickly talk about Rasmus Hojlund. Ruben Amorim said he really wants it. Without training, you notice the lack of connection. You don't have time to work on these kind of things. He has to improve like his teammates. The important thing is that I see every day that he wants it. He wants to work more at the end of the session. So what Ruben Amorim's saying on Hojlund is he wants it. He wants to get better. He wants to improve. He needs to spend more time with him. Rasmus Hojlund's not been good enough. His touch, his hold-up plays, everything's not been good enough at the moment. But I think also some of it is due to lack of confidence, playing in a graveyard shift, being in a poor environment, learning a new system. I think in time Hojlund can become a very good player, but I think right now he's not been good enough for United. And what worries me is the lack of progress. Last season was hit and miss, but there was progress. We saw it in the Champions League. We've seen it in games, 16 games in his debut season for United in a graveyard shift. There was progress. There was something to see. This season, we're not seeing this progress. We're not seeing him grow and develop, progress since last season. And that is worrying from a United perspective. And I think Rasmus Hojlund will be aware of that, and he's just working with him, trying to get the best out of him. But I think with Rasmus Hojlund, I like the guy, but he's not been good enough. He needs to hold the bench for a while. There's elements of this game that I like. He is more clinical. He's good with the ball in front of him, running the channels, but his hold-up, his link-up play isn't good enough. And if him and Xerxes aren't scoring, you might as well go with Xerxes, because at least he offers more an all-round play. But hopefully Hojlund can get back to his best and work on improving that. I think Amorim is willing to give Hojlund the time of day, which he isn't willing to give to Marcus Rashford. Barcelona are keeping contacts active with Marcus Rashford in case Ansu Fati decides to leave. Also, Fenerbahce and Galatasaray inquired about Rashford, but nothing advanced. The whole reason Rashford wants out of Man United is to get back in the England squad. Barcelona can do that. Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, not really going to do that. Same with West Ham that he's been linked to. I think Marcus Rashford has to go after Ruben Amorim's press conference comments. He clearly doesn't want him at the club, and I think if he does end up staying, it's a situation of Marcus Rashford stays at the club, he doesn't play again, his value goes down massively because he's not played in 6 months, or he stays at the club and Ruben Amorim has to bring him back against his will. I think Rashford, we need to sort of find a solution there, because I think it's going to be really worrying in terms of Ruben Amorim. But big up everybody for watching today's video, by the way. I hope all the news was clear. Just trying to round it up in 10 minutes for you guys. But yeah, thank you for watching. Let me just make sure there's no news. See you next time. Bye.